We let the Native American DNA go for now, but please keep it in mind, certain practices of ancient Amazon Native Americans will become key in solving human history and our many challenges. Further, the Amazon Native Americans are very important today because they present the best heart and brain health of the world. Supposedly most Western Eurasian modern humans as well as parts of Asia descend from the Steppe Pastoralists. These are maximum 12,000 years old, and never had a chance to interbreed with Neanderthals because those were extinct long before. The region they supposedly come from is outside the Western Eurasian Neanderthal Range, and consequently never hosted Western Eurasian Neanderthals, because the region they supposedly come from was ice-covered, and there had been no way for Western Eurasian Neanderthals to survive, let alone to form a substantial large population or even less a cradle. All relevant ancestral markers point to the Americas as where Western Eurasian modern humans descend from. But as an exercise and a control, where else than the Americas the Western Eurasian modern humans could have descended from? Sub-Saharan Africa is excluded, because it is outside the Neanderthal range, and Sub-Saharan Africa is known for its absence of Neanderthal DNA, and almost ironically, that is the reason and paradigm why the assumption of interbreeding out of Africans with Neanderthals in the rest of the world originated from. Asia is excluded, because that is where they are supposed to spread to, the famous Aryans narratives, which even Hitler abused, of Aryans spreading, including to India, the Aryans settling in the Indus Valley and Ganges Plain. Further, we will claim that these newly arriving genetics, Western Eurasian modern humans, which consensus assumes to be descendants of the Steppe Pastoralists, in fact come from their common ancestor, which had its cradle overseas, and reaches both these destinations by means of fleets of ocean-worthy ships, and especially by means of the efficient use of dominant ocean currents and gyres. Instead of migrating by foot from Siberia, Caucasus, and or north of the Black and Aral Sea, to India, etc. The use of fleets of ocean-worthy ships, and especially by means of the efficient use of dominant ocean currents and gyres, is clearly proven by the fact that the same DNA appears in South America and in the Amazon forest. This while the Beringia land bridge no longer exists, because we are in the Holocene and the Beringia land bridge has already melted long time ago. There is one important detail. The proven navigation is not from Eurasia to South America, but from South America to Eurasia instead, including to India, entering through the Indus River mouth amongst other rivers, in the case of India, and entering Eurasia through European river mouths, with their mouths in the North Sea and Baltic Sea, in the case of Western Eurasia. Entering through the Mediterranean Sea could have been an even better option, but possibly this route was not intensively used for reasons or insecurities, caused by, for instance, clearly present vigilant and defending groups and or cultures. The American and more specifically the Amazon Amerindian ancestry is clearly and independently proven by the most relevant ancestral markers. What follows is a piece of consensus. The Aryans were a semi-nomadic group of people who migrated from Central Asia to India around 2000 BC. They brought Indo-European languages, including Sanskrit, to the region. We claim that a migration of steppe pastoralists from Central Asia, Siberia, to India is excluded by means of ancient DNA research, and this exclusion is confirmed by geneticist David Reich in his video interview by Dwarkesh Patel. But there is an association between Western Eurasian modern humans and the famous steppe pastoralists. The association is that both come from the same cradles in the Americas, have DNA similar to the Native Americans. This is proven by a massive, thousands of participants research of David Reich back in 2013 and 2015, involving the so-called 3 population test. What seems to be different is their Y-DNA haplogroups, but their haplogroups are very similar one to the other. For consensus, the P clade is the parent of haplogroups Q and R, and is rarely found. It has been detected at low frequencies in the Caucasus and India. All relevant ancestral markers, and a mass of evidence point clearly out that all modern humans, and this includes all Western Eurasian modern humans, descend from the Americas, but consensus and almost all powerful parties have interest in the real origin not being discovered, because this would be inconvenient at best, and could bring consensus in discredit at worst. Geneticist David Reich seemingly cannot point out the real origin himself for now, most probably because that could damage several other parties akin or close to him, as well as his own research and team. And he seems to be the kind of person that has lots of patience, and will go great lengths to not prejudice another. The first 10 to 20 minutes of the long video of Dwarkesh Patel shows David Reich incentivizing others to start from scratch and point out the real history and real ancestor. What we, the authors of this video, are most interested in, is what they can teach us about existence and solving our massive number of challenges. David Reich clearly signals to Dwarkesh Patel, but if Dwarkesh Patel also cannot do it, we think he will signal to others anytime soon. For Dwarkesh Patel to get the job done, or do his part, he will need to let go of what we pointed out above, the fact that our Neanderthal similarities are not the result from interbreeding with Neanderthal. This simply so because we modern humans never coexisted with Neanderthal, because our ancestors extinct them before we could meet. Whenever someone asks David Reich about Neanderthals, he will answer from the standpoint of consensus, because this is expected from him. But at the same time, David Reich also signals that the history that consensus tells us must be done over from scratch, and this by someone other than himself. So the one that will tell the history from scratch has to let go first what consensus tells us, which amongst others, is that we got Neanderthal DNA from Neanderthal through interbreeding with them, while in fact these groups never coexisted. The extinction of Neanderthals also happened with other supposedly not modern humans, like Clovis people, Cro-Magnon people, and many other groups and haplogroups, megafauna etc. during the Younger Dryas and possibly before. David Reich hammers on these extinctions over and over, but what follows is silence. He does not get the support he needs. All fossils of those extinct from before the Younger Dryas are buried under the Younger Dryas Black Mats. The Younger Dryas Black Mats are nothing else than the slacks of the massive metallurgic activities and industries of our direct ancestors, of Y-DNA haplogroup R, with its roots in the Americas, this before and during their invasion and population turnover events, into and in another continent. All of this David Reich detects in ancient DNA from all over the world, but he cannot speak out himself. Such massive metallurgic activities and industries cannot evolve in a very short period of time. It is imported from somewhere else. In fact, it all is imported together with its operators, this by means of the population turnover events proven by ancient DNA research of David Reich and others. Its operators and invaders are of the Y-DNA haplogroup R, which is close to Y-DNA haplogroup Q, and has its roots and cradle or cradles in the Americas, in cases after the Younger Dryas mostly in and from North America. Clear keys and clues for existence lie in the sustainable practices of our origin or ancestors, and that is the reason for the name of our think tank, Origin for Existence.